Coming up on AgweekTV, an early blast of winter slows harvest while drought in the region continues to expand. EPA re-registers Dicamba products as farmers look ahead at trade options for soybeans and seed supplies for 2021. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz talks ethanol on a campaign stop for Joe Biden. And we'll have a story of an 81-year-old entrepreneur who turned his competitive racing fix to farming. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook here at my home farm in South Dakota. On Tuesday, EPA Administrator Andrew Wheeler announced the agency was approving 3 dicamba herbicides for over-the-top dicamba-tolerant soybeans. EPA granted 5-year registrations for XtendiMax and Ingenia herbicides, as well as re-registered Tavium. All 3 require a June 30th nationwide cutoff date and the use of a pH buffering agent to control volatility. Fexapan was not included in the decision. The move provides certainty for farmers after the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals banned the use of several dicamba products in June. The 2020 growing season saw more reported complaints for off-target dicamba drift in the region. North Dakota reported 11 formal complaints, up from 5 in 2019. Minnesota had 124 complaints of alleged damage in 2020, compared to 22 last year when wet weather deterred spraying. In Iowa, 215 growth regulator complaints were filed, up from 132 last year. Of those, 57 were over-the-top dicamba. The increase was tied to early planting, resulting in corn and soybeans being sprayed at the same time, plus weather played a role.
A lot of areas were dry, things were warm, so it's just a combination of more dicamba in a short time frame allowed more product to get up and move.
South Dakota Department of Ag officials say they don't keep records of pesticide incidents by specific active ingredients, and after new regulations on dicamba, they saw a sharp decline in reported incidents and no longer needed to monitor cases. EPA's approval of dicamba products will help farmers who are weighing their options for soybean trait platforms for next season and securing seed. They're basing their decision on crop safety with dicamba products, past weed control, and the weeds on their farm. For those with resistant kochia, Xtend is recommended.
If your weed species are primarily water hemp, some of the longer germinating species, then I would say, Enlist might be a better choice for that grower. So it depends on the grower and the area and the weeds they manage.
While Peterson Farms and other companies have good supplies of Xtend and Enlist, they say Enlist E3 soybeans were hot in 2020 and are going fast for 2021, especially early maturities.
They will sell out fairly soon. We're anticipating good volume, but we're really anticipating that they're going to sell out in this first or second pay period.
A new option is XtendFlex soybeans, which recently received EU approval and can be grown in the U.S. in 2021. Bayer has enough XtendFlex soybean seed to replace over half the U.S. Xtend lineup, with one exception.
Where we're lacking a little bit is in the north. The early varieties always kind of lag behind in the program, for finding the right genetics. But we're hoping in the next year or two we'll keep adding some new genetics there too.
XtendFlex soybeans are tolerant to glyphosate, dicamba, and glufosinate and provide flexibility for tough or resistant weeds. Argentina is the first country to approve GMO wheat, but it raises plenty of questions. It hasn't been approved by any importing countries yet, so crops economist Frayne Olson says it's just too early to determine how the new variety will affect global wheat markets. Argentina is one of the U.S.'s top wheat export competitors. He says it's a drought-resistant variety and comparable to hard red winter wheat, so it's not likely to be grown in the upper Midwest, but he thinks it could be welcomed by producers in drought-prone areas. Olson thinks the biggest obstacle could be consumer resistance.
The concern has not necessarily been with the science part of it, but it's actually been with the consumer acceptance and whether consumers will look at a bread flour or bread that's been made from GMO wheat, whether they'll actually purchase that or not.
Olson says Argentina and Brazil have been producing drought-tolerant soybeans for several years. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz expressed his support for ethanol during a recent visit to a poet plant in southeast Minnesota. As Noah Fish reports, the governor says ethanol is important for farmers and consumers.
This is a homegrown industry that Minnesota was one of the leaders in.
Governor Walz stopped at the Poet biorefining plant during the Joe's in Your Corner tour, supporting presidential candidate Joe Biden's agenda for ethanol production.
Creates market for our producers, create jobs locally, reduces carbon emissions, gives us opportunities to save consumers money.
Walz says he was a big supporter of the ethanol industry during his 12 years in Congress before becoming governor.
There's a reason as a member of Congress that I helped push the renewable fuel standards that says we're going to use a certain amount of ethanol. And I think what's happened is the administration simply hasn't followed those rules.
The Preston plant has about 40 workers and takes in about 16 million bushels of local corn each year, producing 46 million gallons of ethanol. Plant manager Chris Hansen says the industry needs RFS to be followed by Congress as written, because billions of gallons of ethanol have been lost with small refinery exemptions.
And that's really a bipartisan issue. It's not a Democratic or Republican issue, that's an American issue.
That's right.
We can grow our country if we allow that market access to E15.
In Preston, Minnesota, this is Noah Fish for Agweek.
Ag development continues to be debated in South Dakota. Now the Yankton County Commission is working on new zoning rules. At a Families Feeding Families informational meeting, residents provided input on the proposed changes, which commissioners say are needed so those seeking a conditional use permit know what's required, and due to lawsuits opposing recent projects.
There's a lot of slack in our ordinance, and depending on who is sitting on the commissions, whether it's Planning Commission or Board of Adjustment, they can use that wiggle room to add conditions. And that's really where you start running into challenges, depending on who's sitting in the seat.
There was support for re-adding a right to farm clause to the ordinance and opposition to lowering the lot size for a permit. Farmer John Gunderson says his hog barn was approved and he was still sued.
But the problem is not the ordinance, but it is what the Planning and Zoning Board and what the commissioners have done in granting variances that should not have been granted. And they continue to do that for everything except agriculture.
Residents spoke against increasing setbacks and lowering the number of animals requiring a conditional use permit. Ahead on AgweekTV, we'll meet an entrepreneur who turned to farming in his 70s.
You've worked your entire life for this. Through the ups and downs, you've stood strong, building a legacy to be proud of. With all good things in this world, there are still risks. It's a part of life. You need protection you can count on. We're not just here to insure your equipment, your vehicles, or your home. We're here to protect everything you've built. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
At Superior Grain Equipment, we're committed to quality and service, offering you the best in grain storage and dryers for any size operation. Our experts will work with you to determine the most efficient and economical storage solution for your needs. We help protect your bottom line and your future with the industry's best bins and warranties. Make the superior choice for protection today and tomorrow with Superior Grain Equipment.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On-site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
North Star Ag has a new location and a great lineup of equipment to help you work smarter this harvest season. Make the most of your time in the field this fall with the help of a Thunder Creek service trailer. We also carry innovative J&M grain carts as well as H&S beet carts to get your crop out of the field efficiently. North Star Ag is a Meridian Hopper bin dealer too. Visit our website, give us a call, or check out the new location at the Tower City exit right off I-94.
Challenges. We all face them at some time. But it seems that ag has seen its fair share over the past few years. Has your farming operation been able to stand the challenges? If not, maybe it's time to talk to the risk management specialist at Martinson Ag. We can help you make the sound decisions to help your operation weather the storm. Martinson Ag, your one-stop shop for crop insurance, livestock insurance, and marketing. We are here to take your operation to the next level.
Welcome back. Whether it's racing cars or growing corn, John Wick Jr. loves a good competition. After a career as an entrepreneur, he went back to farming in his 70s. Mikkel Pates talked to Wick about his interesting life.
We've always been a competitor on one thing or another. Snowmobile racing, car racing, and farming, of course.
John Wick was raised on a farm near Staples in central Minnesota, but he left as a young man to work as a machinist.
Parts that we made for aircraft fuel systems.
He eventually built his own company, WMW Products, making aircraft and medical parts while investing in farming. Now at 81, he's been focused solely on farming for a little over a decade. He heeded his dad's advice about investing in farmland.
Buy all the land you can afford to buy close to the city, and that'll be a great retirement for you someday. And that's exactly what I did.
After selling his parts business in 2008, Wick moved his farming to a new base near Osakis, Minnesota. You can see the setup along I-94. He and his sons and crew grow corn and soybeans, and after a tough year last year, he's happy with the crop this year. In fact, he's entered a 27-acre field in the National Corn Growing Contest.
The land is in really good shape. The nutrients are where they need to be. We planted 100-day corn. We planted it at 40,000 seeds to the acre. So we can't wait to get in and do the harvest on it and see where we fall.
Wick says he has no plans to retire anytime soon.
Still buying land till I get to be 100, then I'm going to retire.
Near Osakis, Minnesota, this is Mikkel Pates for Agweek.
The harvest was moving at a blistering pace in the region until the recent and early snowfall slowed efforts. However, farmers are getting back in the fields. As of October 25th, U.S. soybean harvest was 83% done, advancing 7% for the week, but was past the 95% mark in our region and still ahead of normal. The U.S. corn harvest advanced 12% for the week, but even with snow in the western corn belt, many states were able to harvest another 15 to 18% of the crop. Recent snow was welcome as drought conditions have expanded and intensified in the region, but the drought already lowered forage supplies this season. This has experts worried about forage availability and shortages of feed for livestock this winter. NDSU Extension livestock expert Miranda Meehan is also concerned about decreased production next year, so she says now is the time to start making adjustments to grazing plans. Some areas are already overgrazed and pasture conditions are poor across much of the region.
If we don't take the proper precautions and allow those to recover and before we start grazing next year, we're going to see decreased production in those pastures, and that's going to lead to decreased ability to stock those pastures, and ultimately it's going to impact livestock performance.
Meehan says one bright spot is ample subsoil moisture in 2019 likely prevented the dry conditions in 2020 from being worse. Sales of organic products have risen sharply in the U.S. over the last 5 years. New NASS data shows total 2019 sales rose to just under $10 billion, up 31% from 2016. The new report also found there are more than 16,000 certified organic farms, accounting for 5.5 million acres. That's up 9% from 2016. But organic acreage still accounts for less than 1% of total U.S. farmland. The survey shows 29% of farms plan to increase their level of organic production. Coming up on AgweekTV, a major insurance company with agricultural roots announces an expansion northward.
Insurance. It's not something you think about every day, but it is something you need to get to your next destination, to preserve what you've built, to secure what you'll leave behind, to safeguard the things you value most. Enjoy peace of mind knowing you have protection from the unexpected, security all year round, and expertise you can trust. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
Advanced Grain Handling is your regional dealer for grain handler dryers, bins, and accessories. With Grain Handler's continuous mixed flow drying systems, you're capable of high levels of grain dryer efficiency on all types of grain, including seed grain. Advanced Grain Handling also carries West Steel's quality stainless steel products for on-farm and commercial grain storage solutions. Advanced Grain Handling has licensed and trained service techs and a licensed electrical shop. Get a hold of Chad Kylo to find the perfect solution for your farm.
Challenges. We all face them at some time. But it seems that ag has seen its fair share over the past few years. Has your farming operation been able to stand the challenges? If not, maybe it's time to talk to the risk management specialist at Martinson Ag. We can help you make the sound decisions to help your operation weather the storm. Martinson Ag, your one-stop shop for crop insurance, livestock insurance, and marketing. We are here to take your operation to the next level.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
Go beyond the headlines with an Agweek membership. Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to Agweek and AgweekTV.
After an early blast of winter, farmers are returning to the field to harvest with warmer and drier conditions. How long will that continue? Here's John with our AccuWeather outlook.
It's been quite a wild ride with the jet stream going so far south. 2 weeks of snow cover in parts of the northern plains, an Oklahoma ice storm. Now we're almost flipping the pattern, looking at a massive warm-up throughout the Great Plains. In fact, most of the United States will be warm for the first week of November. Overall, a very dry and quiet pattern. But things like this time of year typically don't last too long. The second week of this general outlook, the weather will be turning much colder and much more active throughout the United States. So for the time being, we're seeing this big ridge taking shape over the western part of North America. Chillier weather is coming down through the high elevations, but it's generally quite mild out west this weekend, and that warmth will be building up into the Great Plains this week with temperatures reaching into the 60s and even a few stray 70s as far north as North Dakota this week. Most of the Great Plains, southeast, southern part of the Corn Belt will be very warm, and in fact some parts of the eastern Corn Belt will be getting quite warm, and it will likely stay this way for most of the week. Now that ridge will begin to collapse toward the end of the week. We'll start looking at a storm moving into some part of the northern Rockies, Pacific Northwest. The warmth will then move next week into the eastern part of the country, and we'll start looking for a southwest to northeast pattern through the central part of the United States. That is one that tends to lead to more active weather. And here comes the cold. As we get into the second week of this period, that cold weather will be dropping down into the northern plains and sticking around. Much of the northern Rockies will be quite cold, and we're going to squelch the heat down south, but likely keep it in full force down in the southern part of the country, down in Florida and parts of the southeastern states. What remains to be seen is the shape of this southwest to northeast flow. There's a potential storm track in there that could eventually lead to some significant moisture for some parts of the Great Plains and upper Midwest. Not this week, though. It is looking dry, except for maybe some showers in the Pacific Northwest along the Gulf Coast. The rest of the United States, anyway, is going to be pretty much bone dry. There may be some areas of rain in the Canadian Maritimes and maybe a few light snows up through northern Canada. But as we switch to the second week, this is the difference that southwest to northeast flow pattern has. We'll start getting some significant rains here and probably a band of significant snow. And where exactly that sets up will have to do with the placement of that track as the time of that storm system coming out of the Rockies. In other words, this snow could drop a little south. It could also pull in some of that rain. So some of the northern plains could either be dry or wet, depending on the location of the pattern. But it does look like the southwest will remain dry. The general outlook, the warmth, the quiet weather, beginning to go to cold and active.
Growing up as a kid, Gateway was always the grain bin building and the grain handling people that were out in our area. One of the reasons we chose to go with Gateway was they're the leader in the industry and they are the #1 Brock dealer in the United States. We've really liked the Brock design and some of the designs that Gateway has come up with throughout the years. My best advice would be to just put your trust in them and let them come up with the design that's going to fit your needs.
With the success of the Case IH Steiger Quad Track and Magnum Road Track tractors, it's no secret why Case IH is the leader of the track. So it wasn't surprising when the competition started imitating us. But only Case IH offers a 5-axle design to give you a smoother ride, more power to the ground, with less berming and compaction. Still, we're flattered. In fact, if we weren't already red, we'd be blushing.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has a storage solution for you with a wide variety of bin options and accessories, along with site planning and superior customer service. Plus, from top to bottom, we offer the industry's best bins and warranties to protect your products and your grain storage investment. Get superior quality, protection, and reliability with generations of experience and dependability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
Keep your equipment in the field when you need it most with parts from Titan Machinery. We carry a full line of high-quality Case IH parts designed for optimal performance and durability. We also carry alternative parts options at lower price points with rugged designs for a great mix of affordability and performance to fit a wide variety of makes and models. Contact your local Titan Machinery location today or shop online at www.titanmachinery.com. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH parts leader.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
Welcome back. Joining us today is Nate Weber with Farmers Mutual of Nebraska. Nate, the company is nearing its 130th anniversary, but give us a little background on the company and how you got to this point.
Thank you, Michelle. It's a very exciting time for us at Farmers Mutual as we're nearing this anniversary milestone as a company. We were founded by 22 farmers in Nebraska who came together and to help ensure their farms together. And from the founding through today, we've been able to be very successful. And AM Best, which is the insurance industry rating, has rated us A or better for 98 consecutive years.
So talk about the insurance products that you guys handle.
We will write farm policies, auto policies, and residential policies for a home. Also able to write policies whether it's for boats, ATVs, UTVs, snowmobiles, or any of those fun little toys that somebody might have.
So you originally started in Nebraska, you've got South Dakota, now you've expanded into North Dakota, you announced just recently. And so how is that transition going?
It's been going very well. We were able to start writing business on October 1 in the state of North Dakota, which is when we were able to write our first policy, and we did. And we look forward to the opportunity to get to know the state of North Dakota and North Dakotans better, to be able to service their insurance needs as well.
So what do you tell them about what sets you apart maybe from some of the other insurance providers in the state?
I would say it's our exceptional customer service, prompt, fair claim service in the event of a claim. We do also have a lot of ag experience. You know, going back to our 22 founding Farmers Mutual members, it's ag based, and we've tried to stay very strong to our ag roots.
So if somebody's watching this and they want to get a quote, how do they get in touch with an insurance agent?
We have roughly 1,500 appointed agents, and anyone can visit our website, which is fmne.com, and there's an agent locator which they could use to find an agent near them.
Well, welcome to North Dakota and much success. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. That's Nate Weber joining us with Farmers Mutual of Nebraska. Still ahead on Agweek TV, we'll tell you why North Dakota's weather data network is getting a big upgrade.
If you have a basement waterproofing or structural emergency, Safe Basements North is here to help. Our team of basement repair professionals will find the cause of the problem and work with you to develop a permanent solution. Safe Basements North is following CDC recommendations and is here to help keep your home and family safe. For a free consultation, go to safebasementsnorth.com and take advantage of our 12-month, no-interest, no-payments offer.
I'm Jesse Treble, and peace of mind is a safe basement.
Agweek brings you timely agriculture news from field to fork in digital, print, and television. Fresh every week, join Jenny Schlecht from the Agweek editorial team and me, Al Windmill, from the sales and marketing team for a deeper dive into farm and ranch stories, along with guest interviews with personalities from the world of agriculture. If you're involved in farming, ranching, or agribusiness, the Agweek podcast is the show for you.
For Agweek, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Good weather information is vital to agriculture. The North Dakota Ag Weather Network recently got a big grant to improve weather data collection. The network, known as NDON, has grown to 160 stations around the state under Director Daryl Richardson. There are also 28 stations in Minnesota and 6 in Montana, but the system has some holes in western North Dakota. So NDON is getting a $6.4 million federal grant to install additional stations and refit current stations with better equipment to monitor the water content in snow. When the upgrades are complete, it will vastly improve information about soil moisture.
But it's really irrelevant how much it snowed. It's the moisture content, and that's what we're really lacking. So this project will put out a whole bunch of weighing rain gauges, so they really weigh the moisture. So if it's hail, snow, grapple, whatever it is, 1/100 of an inch weighs the same. So again, it's going to be a big boon for agriculture.
They plan to start the project in the spring and hope to have it completed in 5 years. Thanks for watching this week's edition of Agweek TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com, and you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Have yourself a great and safe week.